Welcome to Dreamy Tales, where soothing stories guide you into a peaceful night's sleep. Enjoy imaginative bedtime stories that take you on a journey to the land of dreams, accompanied by relaxing background sounds to help you unwind and drift off easily. Perfect for both children and adults, Dreamy Tales is your ideal companion to relax, wind down, and enjoy tranquil moments. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share it with others. Tune in, relax, and let your mind wander into a world of calm and serenity with us. In a land far, far away, nestled between vast fields of flowers and enchanted forests, there was a magical meadow known as Everbloom. The meadow was home to the flower fairies, delicate creatures with wings as bright as the blossoms they cared for. Each fairy had a unique connection to the flowers, which they lovingly nurtured. Among them lived a young fairy named Flora, who had always felt a deep connection to the colorful world around her. The flowers seemed to respond to her presence with vibrant energy, blooming brighter and stronger in her care. Flora was kind, soft-spoken, and known for her humility, though she often felt overshadowed by the other fairies whose wings shimmered with bold colors and patterns. While the other fairies reveled in the beauty of their wings, Flora seemed to pale in comparison. Her wings were soft, delicate, and lacked the spectacular patterns many of her friends had. She never complained, but secretly, she wished for wings as striking as those of the other fairies. The flower fairies' lives were peaceful, their days filled with tending to the fields and singing songs that made the flowers sway in rhythm. But something strange had been happening over the past few weeks. The winds in Everbloom had grown wilder, and the skies were often filled with dark, swirling clouds. Flowers that had once stood tall and proud now shivered in the fierce winds, their petals tearing and falling apart. The flower fairies were concerned, but they had no idea what had caused this sudden change in their beloved meadow. One afternoon, as Flora was tending to a patch of delicate daisies near the edge of the meadow, she saw a group of wind sprites hovering in the distance. The wind sprites were small, ethereal beings that controlled the flow of air through Everbloom, and while they had always maintained a peaceful relationship with the flower fairies, Flora sensed that something was wrong. The sprites appeared agitated, their swift movements stirring up gusts that rippled through the flowers. Flora watched as they whispered amongst themselves, their expressions growing darker. She crept closer, her curiosity piqued, and managed to overhear snippets of their conversation. "The flower fairies, they've upset the balance," one of the sprites muttered. "The winds are restless because of them," another added. "They've taken too much from the earth." Flora's heart sank. The wind sprites believed that the flower fairies were responsible for the changing weather. But that couldn't be true, could it? The flower fairies had always lived in harmony with nature, nurturing the flowers and giving back to the earth. How could they be to blame? Determined to find out more, Flora decided to speak with the sprites directly. She took a deep breath and fluttered over to them, her wings trembling slightly as she approached. "Excuse me," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I couldn't help but overhear. What's troubling you?" The wind sprites turned to look at her, their expressions wary. "You're one of the flower fairies, aren't you?" one of them asked. Flora nodded. "Yes, but I don't understand." What have we done to upset the balance? The sprites exchanged glances, and then one of them stepped forward. The flowers have grown too powerful, he explained. Their roots are drawing too much energy from the earth, and it's disrupting the winds. The skies are angry, and if this continues, it will bring chaos to Everbloom. Flora was taken aback. Could this be true? She had always believed that the flower fairies were helping the earth, not harming it. But if what the sprite said was accurate, then the very flowers they cared for might be causing the stormy weather that had plagued the meadow. I didn't know, Flora said quietly. None of us did. But there must be a way to fix this, to restore the balance. The lead sprite crossed his arms. There is only one way, he said. The winds will only calm if the flowers give back what they've taken. But to do that, you'll need a special kind of magic, one that hasn't been seen in this land for centuries. What kind of magic? Flora asked, her heart racing. The sprite's eyes gleamed. Rainbow magic, he replied. The magic of harmony and balance. It can restore the natural order, but it is a rare power, one that only a chosen few possess. Flora's mind whirled. Rainbow magic? She had heard stories of it when she was a child, tales of ancient fairies who could channel the colors of the rainbow to bring harmony to the world. But those were just legends, weren't they? Where can I find this magic? She asked, desperation creeping into her voice. The sprite looked at her closely, as if searching for something. The magic is already within you, he said. You just haven't unlocked it yet. Flora blinked in surprise. Within me? But how? Before she could finish her sentence, a sudden burst of light erupted around her. Flora gasped as she felt a surge of warmth spread through her body. She looked down at her wings, and to her astonishment, they were no longer the soft, pale color they had always been. Instead, they shimmered with every color of the rainbow, glowing brighter and more vividly than anything she had ever seen. The wind sprites stared in awe as Flora's wings radiated light, casting colorful beams across the meadow. The flowers below seemed to respond to the magic, their petals glowing with new life. I don't understand, Flora whispered, her voice trembling. How is this possible? You were always meant to carry this power, the sprite said softly. You are the rainbow fairy, the one who will restore balance to Everbloom. Flora's mind raced, but there was no time to dwell on her newfound abilities. The winds were growing stronger, and the storm clouds above were darkening. She had to act fast. With a deep breath, Flora spread her rainbow wings and flew to the center of the meadow. She could feel the magic pulsing within her, a warm, comforting presence that seemed to guide her every move. Winds of Everbloom, she called out, her voice carrying across the meadow. I call upon the power of harmony. Let the flowers and the winds be one once more. As she spoke, her rainbow wings glowed brighter, and the colors rippled through the air like waves. The wind sprites, entranced by the display, began to calm. The gusts of wind they had stirred up faded, and the storm clouds above slowly began to dissipate. Flora closed her eyes, focusing on the connection between the flowers and the earth. She could feel the energy flowing through her, a delicate balance of give and take. Slowly but surely, the winds began to settle, and the flowers responded by releasing some of the energy they had drawn from the earth. The meadow fell silent, the storm averted. Flora opened her eyes, her wings still glowing with rainbow light. The wind sprites hovered nearby, their expressions softened. "You did it," the lead sprite said, his voice filled with awe. "You restored the balance." Flora smiled, though she still felt overwhelmed by everything that had happened. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said. "We're all part of this world, and we need to work together to keep it in balance." From that day on, Flora was known as the Rainbow Fairy, a symbol of harmony and unity. Her rainbow wings became a beacon of hope, and the flower fairies and wind sprites learned to live in peace once more. And as for Flora, she finally understood that her true power had nothing to do with the appearance of her wings. It was the kindness and courage within her that had saved Everbloom.